going to talk about how it is that diviners perceive divinatory information and information about the real world through the divination methods that they use. To understand this, we have to understand the idea of a set. So a set is a grouping of all the different things that define a unique concept. All right? So I can say, for instance, here's a set. This is an animal. It is a mammal. It has 4 legs. It has 2 ears, 2 eyes, a nose with 2 nostrils, a mouth with a tongue and teeth. It has a working jaw. It has 4 legs. Its legs have knees. And I can keep going on like that with this set, but it doesn't tell us what kind of animal it is. Is it a carnivore? Is it an herbivore? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it aggressive? Is it passive? And in the end, we can't say it is a dog, or it is a reindeer, or it's a Tasmanian devil, because we don't have enough specifics about this animal to differentiate it from all the other animals that carry a general form: 4 legs, a tail, a spine, etc., etc. So if I say it is a predator, all right, well, that narrows it down drastically. Now we know it's something that eats other somethings. And I say it has an incredible sense of smell. Okay, that narrows it down, that it's, got a tremendous sense of smell, but I say it's also got amazing vision. Well, that really narrows it down, and we can almost immediately put it in something like the family of cats, because dogs have great hearing and incredible sense of smell, but their eyesight is average, right? But cats have a great sense of smell. They can hear very well, but they can see really well in the dark, right? Because of the reflection behind their eyes. And we know it's not a deer who also has reflective eyes, because we already defined it's a carnivore. And if I say something like, it says meow, that just blows every other possibility out of the water. It's a cat. It's a domestic cat. And so the different items, the different terms within this set, some of them are just ubiquitous, meaning that you find them everywhere. But then we have a greater level of specificity, things that are more specific to the uniqueness of this concept, house cat. But each of them has a greater degree of specificity, right? Until we come to one that's, so specific that it cuts all the rest out of the pack. So we would say that meow is the very heart of this set. It's the most specific trait of this set. Well, when we are divining, what's being presented to us, whether it's by shells, or it's by dice, or it's by tarot cards, or it's by runes, or it's by shapes in ashes, or bubbles of oil in water, or the way the leaves blow across the lawn, it's presenting us with shapes. It's presenting us with members of a set. We know that leaves are the member of a set, leaves. And more specifically, they're subsets, because we have the set that is leaves, but then we also have a smaller set of the leaves of oak, the leaves of ash, the leaves of yew, the leaves of birch. And then we have a set of those trees that are not possessed of leaves. Instead, like pine needles, they're not leaves, right? So I take, I take and I put down a tarot card. This card covers the questioner, and it's the Two of Cups. Well, the Two of Cups is part of the set of cups. It's also part of the set of twos, right? And so the Two of Cups is two different sets coming together to form a greater set. The set of twos and the set of cups come together to create the Two of Cups, which is part of, like I say, both twos and cups. And that means balance, all right? It means balancing one's emotions, right? Because cups are associated with water, because cups are part of the set of things that represent water, all right? And because it's in the position that covers the querent, right? It's part of the set that says things about the querent. But in order to say things about the querent, it has to be able to talk about the outside world, right? So it also is part of the set of things that can describe the outside world. See, and so all of our divination apparatus are comprised of sets, and these sets are part of different families. And if we know the families, the sets that a thing is part of, then what these do is these act as markers, right? Now, it may surprise you to know that only 10% of what we perceive what we conceive of as our sense of vision is seen by our eyes. The other 90% is filled in by our brains. What our eyes and our other senses all together act as an interface between our awareness and our existence. Our awareness is at the center, and our existence is all around us. Now, imagine your computer screen. You've got an icon that represents, something, a program. Well, if you double-click that icon, certain things happen, and they happen reliably, and they happen every time. Unless the software is broken, right? Well, in the same way, our sense of vision says that if something is perceived to be moving quickly towards us, right, that it's something to be concerned about. And so it doesn't stop and go, oh, well, that is a short-haired terrier that is running across the lawn at approximately 18 miles an hour, and his teeth are bared, and there's slobber coming out of his mouth. And if we calculate this all together, especially given that I'm his target, he's probably going to come up and bite me on the ankle. We don't do that. We just get the hell out of there. Why? Because our perceptions had an inference, a specificity, just like meow, that says dog bite. Get the hell out of the way. And so, as we perceive all the things we perceive around us, we pick up the icons, the markers, just like those icons on the computer screen, and we know that they indicate certain things, and we compare that to our perception of those indications in the past, pick out the successful strategies and reactions that we had in conjunction to those kind of markers in the past, and we default to that beneficial behavior. All right? So we infer a whole number of things from the specificities of the set that we have in front of us. Well, this is what happens when we divine and we read. With the same faculty that we use to make those inferences of those markers and their specificity in the world around us. Okay, dog, running, teeth, snarl, bark. All those specificities result in the conceptualization of bite and move out of the way. Well, in the same way, whatever divination apparatus we're using, we throw it down, and with a similar kind of perception, we see the markers with their specificities, and a lot of those specificities end up being a result of what they're in relationship to, what they're conjunction or opposite to in the actual pattern that's down in front of us. And from that pattern, we come forward with the perception that we get from those things coming all together, and we pronounce the oracle, the thing that to our perception those things mean. And there could be four of us sitting around the table, and we all look down, and we all have our own perception of it because of the markers of specificity that we see, what we determine the probable set to be, right? And we express it, and it could be four different things. Okay? And that means that the apparatus is not the magical, wonderful thing. It's the patterns within the apparatus and how well they work as markers of specificity within a set to the individual who uses them. That's why some people are just crazy good with the tarot, but couldn't read runes to save their life, even if they knew everything about the runes. You see, because the runes act as a marker of a set. They have trouble with the markers. Well, the thing is it's our awareness that does this, and it does it in the same way in the outside world as it does in the inside world. But this whole thing demonstrates that it's the diviner, not the divination apparatus, that is divine, that can see, that can perceive. And it is conceived that we must have some form of organ of perception to be able to see those markers, because they don't exist in real space. They're just inferences based on what we have laying in front of us. They exist in a space outside of normal reality. They're thought forms, they're ideas, they're concepts. And every concept has a set that describes it. See? So they're concepts, what I've just spoken at length about. So what this means is that the first thing we need to do is we need to seek out a set that is comprised of useful and universal ways to look at the universe, and this is where the systems of divination come into play. Every form of divination has its own set, its own meanings to the markers that it can produce in its course. And the organ of perception that we have, whether it's a organ comprised solely of our thought processes, or it's an organ comprised of some part of our body that's changing its energy structure that now perceives the vibrations of potentially in comparison to the vibrations of reality. You know, that which was, that which will be, and that which is. These are the 3 points that the diviner seeks: the past, the present, and the future. And so I really wanted to put this down. I wanted to get this in a recognizable form so that this concept can be taken on board. That it's the diviner, not the divination tools, and that what the diviner is doing is he's perceiving markers of specificity, and then just as our physical perception fills in the most logical connection between all of those points in reality that we perceive like that, it fills in the most logical, or possibly the most intuitive, if we want to be really accurate about it, pattern when it perceives the markers that are on the mat. And this is why it's said, you know, that the patterns, the odus, the things that come out when there's a cast made are living things, that they are emitters of energy, and They are, when you cast the divination apparatus, no matter what it is, whether it's a single coin, 4 coins, an entire divination set of 16 calories, or anything else, when it's thrown down, it expresses a pattern, and that pattern is a living thing. It's an active thing. It interacts with the universe. And if you don't know how to handle those energies, reading can be very exhaustive. And I mean that in both ways, exhaustive as in thorough, but exhaustive as in it sucks the vitality out of you. And you need to know how to put that energy away. You know? But a person who is a diviner, not a person who's a reader, can divine with anything, and eventually with enough skill can divine without anything. But that's enough of me rambling on, but I'm recording this. I'm going to try to put it in a form that's easily accessible, and thank you for taking the time. At 16 minutes, I'm out. Peace.